But Jeanne, maybe you can talk a little bit about how groundbreaking that was, not only from a PMP standpoint, but from an autologous vaccine standpoint.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing back the memories, because, those were the days when you really had to work hard to get an audience with FDA that was meaningful. And we've come a long way for sure. But the whole concept of, first off, a plant-made product, this was one of the cutting edge programs at that time. Prior to that, I was at FDA just shortly before we had that meeting. I had just left the FDA fairly recently, within a year or two. And it was at that time I was actually in the vaccines division, and we had the first proposed plant-made pharmaceutical coming to us at the FDA. It was a vaccine, it was an endotoxin component. It was brought to us by Charlie Arnson, one of the fathers in plant-made pharmaceuticals. And so I had the great pleasure, I think we're arm wrestling at the FDA who would get that program. So I digress a bit, but I wanted to frame that because what came closely thereafter was I had left the FDA for private industry and had a great opportunity to meet you and your team at Large Scale Biology. The reason that particular vaccine, the autologous single chain vaccine that was being developed for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was so important was, one, it really was one of the first products that was administered in a clinical trial to humans that had been expressed in plants. And in order for FDA, for example, to start thinking about products made in plants and actually administering those to humans, there were a lot of other steps that had to go before it from a regulatory and a legal sort of point of view. Everything from rethinking at FDA, how do you develop something from plants? Do you look at potential impurities differently? Do you look at structure differently? What do you do? What do you put in place for GMPs? If you are doing some of your work outside versus inside grow rooms, and depending on your operations, how does that interface with other agencies in the government, such as USDA? And I know you're an expert in that, Barry. So that particular vaccine not only represented really an opportunity for FDA and those of us working on the outside to bring that forward, an opportunity to actually test products made in plants in humans. It also did one additional service, I think, to not only plant-made pharmaceuticals, but in general to therapeutic vaccines.